Well, as it's New Year's Eve here in southern Ontario, Canada, seems like a good time to review Tamara lich and her persecution on Canada Day. Um, Canada Day is a celebration of our confederation of our country. It's like the 4th of July in America. Anyways, Tamara lich. We all know who she is, right? Mainstream media, propaganda department of the regime here in Canada, the headlines read, domestic terrorist arrested once again. Tamara lich breaches probation. I'm not going to get into what the incident was actually about because she didn't breach probation. But the persecution from start to finish in this, because of course the mainstream media didn't even begin to cover it. They just had headlines screaming, their misinformation and disinformation. It started with an Ottawa City Police homicide cop. Yeah. Who ran to the prosecuting Crown and said, now, let's look at the prosecuting Crown. It's a matter of public record. He is a Liberal supporter. The monies and the dates of which he has donated to the Liberal Party are a matter of public record. To say he's been zealous in day one of the prosecution of Tamara lich would be an understatement. My personal take is he wants to move from the public court to the royal court of Trudeau. Be following in the footsteps of our Minister of Public Safety, Marco Pinocchio Mendoza. What's his name? Marco Mendoza? Anyways, greasy crook. Anyways, that's our prosecuting Crown. The prosecuting Crown went to a justice of the peace, not a judge. This is very peculiar. A justice of the peace, if I get arrested on Friday night for drunk and disorderly or something, the justice of the peace comes into the jail on Saturday morning and signs me out on an OR, my own recognizance. Justices of the peace is marry people. You can go in with your marriage license, your betrothed, the witness, and $50, and the guy marries you. Well, probably not $50 anymore. There's carbon tax on it, right? But a JP's not a judge. So we have a homicide cop, an overzealous liberal wannabe, a justice of the peace, and it only gets stranger and stranger. The justice of the peace puts out a federal warrant. A federal warrant for breach of probation? Never, ever has that happened in Canada. Not just my opinion. It's never happened. It would be a local bench warrant. And in a high-profile case like Tamara lich, if there were extenuating circumstances that somehow would justify a federal warrant, the Crown's going to reach out to the local police who are going to reach out to Tamara, the lawyers. What next transpired certainly didn't have to transpire. Now, I'm sorry, I'm out of high-speed data. I can't go back and fact-check it, but there were 2 or perhaps 3 police officers flew from Ottawa, including the original homicide cop, that guy. They flew to northern Alberta, where they hung out for 4 days, on the public dime, of course, by which time the federal warrant had been in play, whatever the proper terminology is, for 2 weeks. And again, there was no contact with Tamara lich or her lawyer, anything. So on Thursday night, I think it would be June 30th, because July 1st was the Friday, if I remember correctly, the 2 or 3 Ottawa cops and a bunch of RCMPs from the local detachment, I think there was 8 of them in total. Again, I can't fact check myself, who were waiting for Tamara when she left her place of employment. to arrest her. Now, what do you need more than a half ton of cops to arrest a 5'1" grandmother for? I have no answer for that. Perhaps Tamara practices Tai Chi as a form of exercise. We can assume she's been under observation all along. Maybe they mistook it for Kung Fu and they have her listed with Interpol as her hands and feet being listed as deadly weapons. I don't know. Anyways, the more than half ton of cops shackled her. No kidding, shackles, not handcuffs. Put her on the plane in shackles the whole time, flew her back to Ottawa where they kept her incarcerated over the holiday weekend. Again, the celebration of our Confederation. Wow. Strange, strange, and strange, yes. So at the end of the holiday weekend, she came out from custody in front of a real judge. And the first thing the judge said was, he barked at the bailiff, "Take the shackles off that woman." Tamara was in tears. The bailiff dutifully complied with shaking hands and a suddenly quivering bladder. Then our overzealous wannabe, the prosecuting Crown, not terribly observant, I suppose, went into his tirade about how Tamara, as a foreign-funded misogynist, white supremacist, far-right-wing extremist, foreign-funded misogynist, terrorist, blah, blah, should be drawn, quartered, keel-hauled, burned at the stake, etc. Because he wasn't watching the judge very closely. The judge took a strip out of him a mile wide, then took the creases out of the cop's pants and the shine off his shoes, like a strip out of him too, and granted Tamara 2 days to leave Ottawa. Part of her probational restrictions all along was she's not supposed to be hanging around Ottawa, right? In case she turns into Hitler and a fiery orator and brings the nation to burn the parliament down or something. I don't know, whatever. Again, I mean, mischief and inciting mischief, pretty heavy charges, right? Excuse me. So, and I want to summate by saying, and again, I can't fact check myself on this one. I mean, she's got to get back then from being released to her home at her own expense. This might have been the incidents where a private citizen, Canadian, sent his private jet to pick Tamara up and fly her home. I think it was that occasion, because, I mean, how many times was she in court in Ottawa? I don't know. There was one occasion where some individual, I assume he remained anonymous, excuse me just a second, did send his jet to Ottawa for Tamara. Excuse me. And I just wanted to summate with that private jet incident because there are a lot of turnips out there, like the stupid people who believe the mainstream media, again, the propaganda department division of the government, they think Tamara Lich flits around the country in private jets, that she has an A-team of lawyers all paid for by the money she embezzled from the Freedom Convoy, the donations from the Give, Send, Go, and the GoFundMe. These turnips actually believe it's true. Despite the fact CSIS, the RCMP, about 6 different branches of the government, FinTrack, which is now with the Emergencies Act, been empowered in FinTrack's powers of state. I mean, well, they can close my bank account tomorrow. Maybe they'll pay my overdraft. Yeah, finger to you, Trudeau. It's not this one. But anyways, I just wanted to clarify that whole jet thing. So, prosecution of Tamara Lich, more like persecution. My hat's off to her and a whole lot of other Canadians, hundreds and thousands, who thought that they were practicing their charter rights under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms to assemble and peacefully protest. And now look what's happened to this poor little woman. I mean, the Crown wants 10 years to life for her. I guess that's after she's keel-hauled, drawn, and quartered, and burned at the stake. I mean, I'm pretty sure when she hopped in a truck out in Grand Prairie or wherever she got in a truck and headed to Ottawa, she had no idea she's going to be where she is today. And she's not the only one. And my hat's off to her and every other Canadian who was, well, blindsided by the regime of Trudeau's response, down to and including the single mom who scraped together $20 and sent to the Give Send Go Fund Me campaign or whatever and had her bank account frozen. I mean, wow. Yeah, so 2023, it's our last year. We either regain our freedoms or we lose them. And again, my hat, Tamara Lich, brave person. A lot of people would have backed off before now, said, oh man, I had no idea I was going to turn into the poster child of the regime's tyranny. And to the people out there, just because I'm getting hot under the collar here now, to the turnips out there and the cowards and the fools who think that the free dumbers, a bunch of dumb truckers went to Ottawa and upset the citizens in Ottawa. Yeah, I got a finger for you too, and it's not this one. You guys make me sick. So anyways, that's the story of Tamara Lich. Oh, well, her prosecution on Canada Day last year.